Hi everyone, I'm Asha, an Akashic Records reader, blogger, and podcaster. In this series, we will demystify the Akashic Records by bringing to you bite-sized contents on frequently asked questions relating to the Akashic Records. We will also explore topics relating to spirituality, as well as practical application, learnings, and reflections in the Akashic Records. My Akashic Masters are very excited to join us in this journey. We send much love, light, and blessings to all. Welcome to episode 69 of Case Study 20 of an Akashic Light reading and healing session with Mike. Mike came to me for the second time for a general Akashic Records session. On his first query, Mike asked, will the business of co-living in real estate be suitable for him and his wife to venture into? To which his Akashic Masters replied, yes, it is something you can explore, and they would like to share some pros and cons. On the pros, there are some short-term opportunities right now in the market for this venture. There is a gap in terms of the supply and demand that allows new entrants into this market segment. And the price point in terms of investment is pretty affordable. On the cons, there are a lot of uncertainties abound, since this is a fairly new venture, so there might be uncertain business risk, which requires you to have a very nimble and adaptable mindset when executing it. So you may not foresee everything at the planning stage, but you have to take things in your stride and deal with them in a very nimble and adaptable mindset when the time comes. They assure you that things are under plan right now and actually going according to plan. It is not someone else's plan or expectations on you, but it is more of the divine's plan meant for you to tread on. What's happening to you now is actually going very well according to your divine plan. Mike shared that they intend to collaborate with a company to do this co-living business. He is unsure if they are suitable partners, or are there other mentors for them to learn from, so that they can keep improving themselves and expanding their network? Any advice on what factors to build on to improve themselves so that they could be better in their business and spiritually? You are your own greatest teacher at this stage. There is no one ideal mentor in the market for this kind of business right now. You might have a variety of learning everywhere. That means some bits and pieces from different mentors who may appear in your life right now. But there is no one ideal mentor who can take your hand and guide you safely through every obstacle from start to end of the transaction. So that's why you are your own greatest mentor at this stage. You take what you need to learn from everyone possible that calls out to your intuition at this stage. And then you move on and package that into your own knowledge. In that process, you might end up creating your own way. Take everything stage by stage. It is not being too impulsive. You might take the first step without having everything in mind, without having oversight of all permutations or how the future will unfold. At every step, doors will open for you. Then you look at your options, and then you decide, assess your risk, and take your next step. That is safest for you right now. Though sometimes venture requires us to have a broad picture, but we can't possibly have all kinds of permutations in our hands at the start. On the second query, Mike asked, for this collaboration with a company and 2 persons, will they be credible to work with? To which his team of masters replied, yes and no. Yes, in that they have some real estate expertise in the venture, so they can give you a preliminary guide on what to expect, how things will unfold at the initial stage. The cons are that they may not have that kind of breadth and depth of expertise that you are looking for. So as things start to get complicated, as you go deeper into your venture, you find that they can be rather helpless as well. That is when you need to depend on yourself rather than them. You can have them at the initial stage as they have that basic foundation, the real estate expertise to guide you. After that, you have to depend on yourself because they may not have the breadth and depth of expertise. The masters consider the company to be reputable and established. If you are thinking of the company's risk of bankruptcy, they don't go bankrupt so easily. And the company is also trying to make things work at their end. It is not about deceiving people on board only to run away, because when you succeed, they succeed too. On the third query, Mike asked, Mike and his wife intend to sell their HDB and to buy 2 resale condos, and have gotten themselves a mentor to guide them. Is it advisable for them to sell the flat by themselves, or should they find someone to help them sell? Is this mentor helpful or reliable in guiding them to buy properties that won't make them lose money? To which the Akashic Masters replied, whether you should sell the flat on your own or find someone to sell, either option is fine. Just take whatever price comes by that is better for you, based on current conditions at the time when you are trying to sell. You can exhaust your options for both ends. There's no need to overly restrict yourself, like one way to the exclusion of the other. You can be flexible and do both, because there's learning experience for you involved, not just in selling the property, but in the process of selling. They want you to learn something which will be valuable in your future expertise. That's why you can try and also engage someone. Do everything and see whatever price comes by which is better for you. On the mentor, yes, sort of an industry expert or veteran in this field at this stage. So you can find reliable source of expertise from this person. But as always, take all information with a pinch of salt. What is tried and tested in the past may not always be reliable and applicable for all future scenarios. That is why you are your own greatest mentor, teacher, and guide in your soul's journey. You will have a lot of so-called mentors coming to your path to guide you, but no one knows your journey better than you. So trust yourself at all times. That means you can source for their advice, but you always take it with a pinch of salt. It is not as if they are out to lie to you or cheat you, but sometimes they don't have the breadth and depth of expertise for all future scenarios. That means they are an industry veteran. They have the expertise of what's tried and tested for now. But for future, things may change. Permutations may change, which they may not know. It is a bit like COVID. Who knows? Most people don't know. So when it unfolded, it changed things. Even the so-called experts may not be experts by then. On the fourth query, Mike asks, when Mike returns to work next month, is there any advice on areas that he should focus on developing when back at work? To which it is received: human resource, management, and networking. It is not much of a technical expertise you are trying to learn from, but trying to involve and engage as much people as possible in your area of field. Have exposure to a variety of people and their personalities, their likes and dislikes, thoughts and beliefs, so that one day you may be able to reach out to them. It is like creating some foundation for you to open your opportunities in future, whatever it may be. It is not so much of trying to acquire your technical expertise in your subject area field. You might be shifting to other areas. So this technical aspect of competence becomes less useful for you in your years ahead. But what's more important is actually the human relations, connections, and networking. You will find it invaluable for you. Mike asks, is there any advice on what he should take note of, especially on his part? For example, his attitude, so that he can be more aware and improve from there. The word patience keeps coming up. Patience for other people and their personalities. They may be very rough people, immature, but we have to take things in our stride. They may have their expectations that they want to impose on all other people. That is their problem. And we don't allow ourselves to be meddled by other people's expectations imposed upon us. So they can think what they want, they can impose expectations on what they want, but ultimately, everyone has free will. Everyone are free souls. So we can always have the full and free choice to decide on our own way and our soul's path. So when we remind ourselves constantly that we have this empowered attitude and mindset, we are invincible everywhere. Nobody really has a hold on us, be it mentally, emotionally, or even spiritually in whatever sense. On the fifth query, Mike asked, Mike shared that he has been doing investment and trading in stock markets, which he has recently been making mistakes, which helped him to improve his emotional resilience. Is this part of his learning journey? Anything that he should take note moving forward as he continues to invest and trade? Yes, it is part of your soul's learning. So this journey is not a wasted journey. It is meant to happen for you at this stage, to enrich your soul's experience at this stage. It brings you to the next level of emotional and even spiritual maturity, which you are ready for. While we can calculate all hypothetical risks, it may not always bring a realistic assessment of what will unfold in the future. We can't really predict everything, even with the best experts on our field, even with the best intelligence that we may secure within and around us. So mistakes are inevitable and part of life. We just need to take it in our stride, accept and receive whatever learning we can get, the lessons that we have. These are invaluable for us in our soul's journey. Because after all, we came here, specifically chose these experiences so that we can learn something. Once you learn from it, we allow the path to unfold. We assess our risks, make the judgment, and take the next steps based on our risk assessment. So we can take guided actions at every stage, in consultation with our own team of masters. They remind that every soul is connected to their team of masters. You don't necessarily have to access your Akashic records in order to connect with them deeply, because they are a team with you and they surround you as you meditate. When you meditate, you can call upon your team of Akashic Masters and all pure light beings who would like to assist you to join you in meditation. When that intention is set, you may sense them forming a circle around you, enveloping you in light. That's when you meditate and access your intuition, etc. On the sixth query, Mike asked, nowadays when Mike meditates, sometimes when his mind is focused on Amitabha Buddha, he felt warm energy surrounding him or surging around his body. Is this what the Akashic Masters meant by a team of Akashic Masters and pure light beings who would join him in his meditation? Yes, it is part of your team. So when you call upon Amitabha Buddha, he is one of many in your team. When you call upon Buddha, you might sense that gold light coming to your body. That is one of many. The term Akashic Masters might be misunderstood because people sometimes worry if there are devils inside or not. But they encourage you to try. Open mind as always. If you are sensitive, you might sense some of their individual presence. If you don't feel comfortable, when you reach a certain stage of your expertise, you can ask them, "Who are you? Are you aligned to my higher self, soul and oversoul?" If you feel uncomfortable, you invite them to leave your energy fields. So it is not like when you call your team of Akashic Masters and all pure light beings to join you, you just take and accept. If you have reached a certain stage where you can feel the specific individual presence, like some Akashic Masters who have followed you from past lives, you can call them in specifically. Say a specific being appeared in your dream or gave you a message. In your meditation, you can request that being to reconnect with you, appear before you, allow you to sense the being's energies. When you sense the being's energies, you can even ask questions. If you are not comfortable or don't feel ready to ask the questions, then at least you can feel the vibes. If you feel the vibes and feel uncomfortable or not ready to connect, then you invite the being to leave your energy fields. On the seventh query, Mike asked, "Not long ago, Mike felt a being's presence which felt negative emotionally. He thought that he might have come across this being from outside. Is it true, or is it part of the team?" It is outside, not part of your team. Mike asked if it has gone to a better place, to which it is received. They have gone to light. You have brought the being to light. It means a better space for the next stage of evolution. Wherever that being is meant to go for the next stage, he or she will go. Mike shared that he dedicated some merits to them. Hope that has helped them to progress. To which it is received. Your efforts have materialized into an opportunity for the being to have gone to light. Don't need to worry. On the eighth query, Mike asked. Mike shared that he has been meditating for a while, but he seemed to be going up and down. For example, when Mike practiced samadhi meditation, he reached a point where he couldn't enter the deep concentration, which is the next stage. What is the problem he is facing? It is because of the mind's impatience. Our mind and body want to step up to the next stage of progress quickly. But all levels of our being may not be ready to move to the next stage. So there's this inconsistency which results in us feeling stuck. The way to improve, take things as it is. Accept that at every stage, there are learning opportunities involved, even if it is at a stage where we seemingly can't have any breakthrough. The whole process itself, maybe there is some learning for us to uncover. Till then, we just focus on the step. Be contented with the step, enjoying the process in that step. And when it is meant to happen, the next door will open for you. So there is some flow which is required in all levels of the being: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. All levels of the being have to feel ready to up to the next stage. Then gradually it will happen. We don't even need to think or focus on it. It just happens. Is there any suitable physical masters to learn from to hopefully improve it? That was what Mike asked. Or is he his own master in that sense? To which it is received. For the kind of meditation you are working on, not yet. Mike shared that he is also practicing the Powa meditation from the Tibetan book on the living and dead. He is unsure if he is practicing correctly and what other areas he can work on when doing this meditation. To which it is received. Yes, it is part of the Tibetan meditation tradition to do the Powa. The steps are recorded correctly in that book. Focus your mind on every step. Feel the energies at all levels of your being at every step. Visualize the Buddha and what's happening to you as you receive the assistance, karmic grace, and dispensation. Experience the before and after. That means you pay attention to your state of being, your mind, body, and soul before the meditation, then compare it with the after. You may even want to take notes so that you can observe for yourself whether the practice has improved something within you or not. So in that sense, you become your own guide, teacher, and mentor. On the 9th query, Mike asked, Mike and his wife have been trying for a child for some time. Previously, Masters guided them to be patient. Mike's wife has done IVF and all that. While the attachment to having a child is lesser, he wants to seek guidance from Masters, whether there is opportunity for them to have a child naturally. Or should they look at other means such as adoption? There still is. There is hope. Do not resist what the soul is trying to teach or guide you at every moment. Receive the learning everywhere. You're meant to learn, grow, and evolve from your soul's experience, from these perceived difficulties, hardships, and obstacles that come your way. Nothing is impossible. It is a matter of humans' limitation of mind that perceives the impossibility. Adoption, not necessary. You may want to if you wish to. You do not need to think that there is no other option, and this is the only viable option. This is wrong. This is false belief that you need to clear. The pregnancy has to overcome some hardships and obstacles that are laying in the soul's path right now. IVF injection may not be the best solution, as it makes the body more physically vulnerable and open to all kinds of illnesses coming instead. May not be the most ideal and practical solution. To conceive naturally is still possible. It is not mission impossible. Everything takes time. On the 10th query, Mike asked, is it due to past karmic actions that they have done that have resulted in this? If they sincerely repent some of the past actions, will this help? To which it is received. There is karmic action, but it is in your ancestral lineage. There might be a curse sent through the family line not to let any descendants be pregnant. It was very toxic, heavy, angry energies directed at the entire family line, which resulted in none of the family members being pregnant till this stage. To clear, We need to set into practice the sincere wish to be compassionate towards other people's suffering, to atone for the past mistakes and suffering that have been committed, whether intentionally or not, be it through the war times, past lives, when people may not have the best wisdom to access for themselves what is wrong or right, what is the truth or not, and they committed all these sins. Is there a better way that we can be compassionate to this person who put the curse and help this person to have a better life? Might ask. To which it is received. It is an entire army of people who landed the curse, not a single person. It is an army of people in retaliation to the oppression and control that they are facing. Collectively, with their negative projections of energy, they landed a curse on the entire family ancestral line, which befall on this present generation. So sometimes the curse may somehow take some time to materialize. At the point where it has been landed, it does, but it may not always automatically show up in that generation. That may take a few generations for it to materialize, because of all the good karma that was already done in that generation as well. When the time was ready to bear fruit, the karmic seed became a plant, so it grew in this generation. As to how can we practice compassion? We may visualize all these people, this army of people, in your mind's eye. Watch the goal light upon them. Wish and pray for them to be relieved of their suffering. Send them to the light. Apologize on the ancestral lineage behalf of the sins that have been committed to them, whether knowingly or unknowingly. As a descendant, you are a representative of the ancestral lineage. Ask for apology, apologize. Visualize gold light washing over them, cleansing them, sending them highest frequencies of love and light. Pray and send them to a better light or space in time to come, wherever they may be. Might ask, will all these skills learned from Tibetan Buddhism be sufficient to do what the Akashic Masters have guided him? Yes, so long as you are in deep meditation, you just do whatever has been said. The most important thing is not perfection. It is to get the intention correct. When you do it, you set the intention, then you release the expectation. You just do the steps. Hope and pray they will receive. Some of them may be resistant because the suffering may not be easy. Some may accept and go to the light. But we just do what we can. Something is better than nothing. On the last query, Mike asked, for Mike's father, what is their relationship in the past life? Is there anything that Mike can do to benefit his father in this life, so that it can value add to his father in his next life? What more can Mike do to help his father spiritually, so that his father can have a better future life? You have several lifetimes with him, in which you were his son. In one past life, he looked like an army general, on a horse with helmet and armor, and you were his cherished son. He loved you more than anything else, and he wants to provide a better life for his family, including you. Know that His love for you can be unconditional, even if sometimes it may seem laden with a lot of His expectations. That is more of He has a lot of veils covering Him in this lifetime, based on all the old or false beliefs that He has taken on across lifetimes on what is right or wrong, what is truth or not. But deep down, He has this deep and unconditional love for you. We have to accept Him for His limitations and weaknesses that caused Him to behave in this way. So that is the practice of compassion towards Him. Practice compassion and patience towards Him by recognizing all the weaknesses and limitations that caused Him to behave the way He did, and to remember that particular past life, to recall that not just in this present life, we're talking about numerous past lives He cherished and loved you more than anything else. He loved you like how He loved His family. He will valiantly wage war and make sure he comes back unharmed with his life and body intact, because He wants to make sure He can see everyone when He's back. So He has this deep love, even though He may not know how to express Himself correctly at all times. Sometimes there might be some illusion of mind lurking somewhere because of all the false beliefs that He has taken on across lifetimes through all the trauma. We need to hold space for Him to process His own learning. You can provide guided actions for Him when He seems receptive and ready to receive. Let Him develop in His own ways, and He will blossom like a flower in time to come. When nobody recognizes that, He will take His own divine timing and He will blossom like a flower. Next, we moved on to the healing segment of the Akashic Record session. Mike wanted the healing to focus on developing more compassion and patience within. Next, we ran the Akashic Light clearings and activations, which are energetic commands to assist the soul to heal and shift in all levels of their being, be it physical, emotional, mental, and/or spiritual bodies. We ran the clearings and activations on Trust Thyself to allow Mike to trust more in his own wisdom and opinions, releasing false beliefs within, deactivating any black magic and curses that are ready to go on an individual level, releasing a deeper layer of fear as well as dense energies and emotions within Mike. We also activated Buddha's compassion, divine unconditional love, and peace within himself, so as to allow him to feel that he's in a better space in the days ahead, to process the learnings and to take guided actions. We also ran the activations to access the wisdom that Mike has accrued for himself, be it in past lives or present life, to assist him in his soul's journey. We also ran higher intelligence for Mike to connect to the divine intelligence around him to support him. We ran the clearing and activation for brain balance to balance both hemispheres of his brain so that he feels more calm and collected. Lastly, we ran the clearing and activation for I am empowered to allow Mike to step into his own power and wisdom. Mike also shared his testimonial and experience for this session, for which we are grateful. This is what he shared. My first and second Akashic session with Asha were enlightening and had changed my life. Going into the session with an open mind have benefited me greatly. Asha explains well, which enabled me to receive the Master's guidance very clearly. Their guidance has helped me to uncover and resolve the constant blockages in life and provided greater clarity on the direction of my life decisions. All my questions were well answered and left me with zero doubts on how I should move ahead and resolve these life blockages. An Akashic session with Asha is really worth going for, especially in resolving matters which can't be comprehended at our personal level. Truly grateful to Asha for her willingness to take all my questions and patience to reply them. Thank you for tuning in to this podcast. If you would like to read about my dialogues and reflections with the Akashic Masters, you can visit my free blog at Asha-AkashicRecords.com. Till next time, take care.